It's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. On the 8th of March. And Nick Murray and some other domestic terrorists, municipal terrorists, have just been back at the door. Now, I didn't get the recorder turned on in time, so you could listen. So yesterday there was a call with the complaints commissioner, lasted about an hour. And I went through everything that's going on and everything that's happening and all the crimes that they committed and all the abuse and all the ugliness and all the violence and all the war crimes they're committing. So I sent a letter yesterday to West Shore ULOC, Saanich Mayor, a criminal acting as a VC prosecutor, Laura Wheeler, John Rustad, VC Hate Crimes Unit, Professional Conduct, VC Sheriffs, the Premier, Seniors Advocate, a couple of MLAs. This was yesterday. And it says, Victoria is required to address the ongoing violations of her inalienable rights pursuant to common law, law maxim, international law, Canadian Constitution, which includes the Charter of Rights and Freedoms, namely Section 7, the right to life, freedom, and security, and Section 12, no cruel, unusual treatment. Victoria has informed owners and employees identifying as West Shore ULOC they are in possession of personal property obtained by crime, possession of stolen property, that's in the criminal law notebook, committed by fraudster Daniel Carroll of Kamloops, BC, dozens of other offenders, including Peter Innes, who did move private property without the consent of the owners, the Honorable Jack Daly and his spouse Victoria. Reed, hiding an offense, Section 141, the corruptly taking reward for recovery of goods, Section 142 in this link. Miscellaneous administration of justice offenses. Read parties to an offense as owners, partners, and employees of West Shore ULOC are proving themselves to be guilty by continuously demanding Victoria commit evildoing against herself and her family. Foreign diplomats must never possess dirty hands or act in bad faith, and that includes against ourselves. Victoria, a woman who can prove to be a foreign diplomat, is under no obligation to be parties to an offense. Victoria was left intentionally homeless, penniless, heartbroken, fighting for her life, March 2020, as recorded. And then there's a document recorded there. And not one of you has ever shown care, concern, empathy, or compassion. Victoria has no financial resources to meet basic necessaries of life and hasn't had for years. Victoria is under lawful obligation to protect her life, welfare, mental and emotional well-being. We are satisfied you hate Victoria. Victoria does not hate herself, nor does she cause herself or her family harm. Victoria has the right to refuse the unlawful enrichment of those who are causing her irreparable injuries. Victoria has no obligation to respond to fictions such as a West Shore ULOC team. The individuals who own this location and the employees intimidating and criminally harassing Victoria are under an obligation to identify themselves, both given answer names as no one is above the law. And then, of course, intimidation and criminal harassment are both criminal code offenses. If you will not listen to Victoria, she has no obligation to respond to constant unlawful demands. She harmed herself by aiding and abetting criminal code offenses. The Right Honourable Foreign Diplomat Victoria identifies as acting in authority. That's also in the criminal law notebook, pursuant to the Canadian Victims' Bill of Rights and the one true King's Common Law Highest Court. Yeah. So that's retaliation, and retaliation is discrimination, and discrimination is unlawful. So what fucking rules are these satanic savages supposed to be following then? So now that's retaliation. There's a warrant for your arrest. What's the cause? What's the probable cause? What's the reasonable, articulable suspicion that an innocent woman, a righteous woman who is constantly fucking being violated, being fucking robbed, fucking raped of all of her property by violent, ugly, disgusting, racist offenders, Victoria will not be aiding and abetting your intimidation, your criminal harassment. Victoria has absolutely no responsibility, duty, or obligation to talk to the war criminals employed as municipal terrorists. That's now common nuisance. That's an indictable crime. Criminal harassment is an indictable crime. This Nick Murray displays sociopathic behavior. It's a sociopath. And that was one of the criminals yesterday who was named when Victoria spoke to the Office of the Police Complaints Commission. So on August the 29th, the coven needed to have obtained a warrant, not only to kidnap Victoria, but to steal Victoria's private property. Did you obtain a warrant for both crimes you committed? Well, we know the answer to that is no. So since you have fucked up so badly, you then can now not go and move your malicious prosecution forward. Because you are compulsive, you're pathological liars. So these covens work on presumption and assumption. They work on both presumption and assumption. So now we've just heard at the door that they're going to be forced to come back if Victoria doesn't avail herself to more satanic ritual abuse by criminals who are clearly out of control. So this is what it's like to be gang stalked. This is what it's like to be targeted. This is what it's like when you speak up and say something as a whistleblower. Well, let's see the warrant. What is the cause of the warrant? Victoria has absolutely no responsibility, obligation, or duty to accept an invitation to a Masonic temple to be a part of a satanic ritual. So you can continue to lie and deny what you are, who you are, what you do. Victoria has no obligation to avail herself to murderers, thieves, and destroyers. None whatsoever. So if you're not going to listen to the Canadian Constitution, the Victims' Bill of Rights, if you're not going to listen to common law, and you're not going to follow any of the laws, oh yeah, the puke says at the door, we can hear you in there. That's a violation of the right to privacy. You're guilty of criminal harassment, puke. You're guilty of intimidation. You're guilty of fucking uttering threats. You go right ahead. You come back in here with the fucking SWAT team. You fucking go for it. You coming back in here with the fucking SWAT team. Go for it. We fucking double dog dare you fucking satanic ritual abusing demons. Go for it. Victoria will not avail herself to your mental fucking illnesses. You're mentally ill. You need help. Please stop and seek professional help. Jack and Victoria have never once consented to have our property stolen to facilitate money laundering and mortgage fraud. No, thank you. No one in their right mind would. There's a trust in place. There was no money owing. How many times do we need to say the same thing? Go for it, Nick Murray. Nick Murray, you're guilty of uttering threats, intimidation, kidnapping, unlawful confinement, mischief, robbery. That's what's really going on. And where is this demon, this dog, this top dog, David Eby? And how about this Nikki Sharma? Where are they when all this is going on? And how about this mayor? The sloppy, slimy Dean Murdoch. And how about you, Laura Wheeler, compulsive liar? You like to lie in a court, Laura Wheeler? Laura Wheeler's a perjurer. Laura Wheeler likes to incite hatred against innocent women in British Columbia here. Because now they need to protect what they've done. They need to protect their buddies. Well, the warrant for arrest is an assumption and a presumption, and both the assumption and presumption are rebutted. Because you need the consent of the governed. Yeah, you need consent. You need fucking consent to issue that fucking warrant. You need fucking consent to fucking move that warrant forward. You need consent. You need the consent of the governed, and you don't have consent. You will never get consent. Ever. So how embarrassing for you that the municipal terrorists, high-risk offenders, are retaliating as discrimination. So you've perjured your oath. You've perjured your oath of office. You're there to protect life and protect property, and you will do neither. And now you're pissed off because Victoria is acting in authority, which she must do to protect her own life. Thanks for the invitation to talk to you. It's your presumption and assumption is fucking rebutted. You have no authority. The assumption and presumption that you believe you have authority is rebutted. You don't. You're committing a crime. You don't have any authority at all. You never have had authority. And now you're retaliating. That's what fucking demons do. That's what reprobates do. How embarrassing for you that you just walked your fucking ugliness through the building and came and fucking criminally harassed and intimidated and threatened an innocent woman because she's standing up for her rights. And she's using the Criminal Code of Canada against the high-risk offenders who are constantly robbing Victoria.